What you do in life echoes in eternity. So you have to make an impact on the world. Don't just let life happen.
The story of Mesut Özil is a fascinating one, with many twists and turns along the way. But the most important thing that you should take from this video is the greatness of him on the pitch and what he offered in the beautiful game of football. And that is really the most important thing when it comes to footballers. What they do for us on the pitch, how they make us feel, how they entertain us, so on and so forth. However, with Mesut Ozil, there's definitely something more about him which makes people all the more interested in him. In modern football, and most specifically the Premier League, we have lost the mechanical nature of a pure playmaker, the David Silvas, the Mesut Ozils, the pure number 10. With football nowadays, it's become much more pragmatic, simply more results orientated, and that means that you play more to a system which isn't really needing or requires a role to have a number 10 in the way that we used to have back in the day. It is no longer fashionable to be purely a playmaker that is purely reliant on feeding assists to the team. Your work ethic on and off the ball, providing more in terms of a goal threat, and just simply put, most teams are not willing to give away that leniency, that typical playmaker number 10 anymore. When you think of playmakers, you think of Andreas Iniesta, Xavi, Pirlo, Zinedine Zidane, Paul Scholes, and these players are seemingly getting more old-fashioned by the years. I mean, when you think of nowadays, who's probably one of the best playmakers that's still playing now, and that is probably Kevin De Bruyne, but he offers so much more than just a pure playmaking player, and that is what makes Kevin De Bruyne so great. But let's go into the tragic tale of Mesut Özil, as sadly when people are looking back at him, they think of much more than what he does on the pitch, and for me, I find that to be a travesty, that people can't really speak about him without thinking of all the other things that has surrounded him throughout his career, more specifically about the Uyghur Muslims, about racial tensions when it comes to German people and how they treat him. I saw one headline that stated the following: devotion, decline, divorce, over his time at Arsenal. Of course, if you're not aware, back in March this year, Mesut Ozil did announce that he has officially retired from football. And when you do see a player retire, it always makes you feel a bit old. I mean, Mesut Ozil is not particularly too old right now, but at this time in his career, he felt like it was a good time to hang up his boots. And you can use Mesut Ozil as the perfect example of how fast football can change. As in the early 2010s, he was seen as the new up-and-coming playmakers for the future, the new Iniesta, the new Xavi, the new Zidane. And then when you come to the end of the decade, his playstyle is seen as more as a inconvenience for coaches. Life goes fast, and so does football. Give me your thoughts down below in the comments with Mesut Özil and how you look back on him as a person and him as a footballer, because I feel like a lot of people split the two in terms of when they speak about him and when they look back in the time of watching Mesut. So tell me your thoughts down below. If you're new here, then please do smash a like button. Let's try to hit 3,500 likes. Thank you so much for your support, as always, and also subscribe if you are new. And of course, thank you for the love and support to my company, mazzoladesigns.co.uk, the footballer's choice, working with many football clubs and footballers, providing the best prints on the market. So link is down below. And Father's Day is coming up, so make sure to use code FATHERS for 8% off. And of course, sponsor time. And of course, if you've been watching us for a while, this video has been sponsored by So Rare, partner on the channel, and I'm very proud to have them on board. What is So Rare? I'm sure that you've seen it all around the Premier League, everywhere that you go, on the ad boards. And what is So Rare? It's quite simple. So Rare is a fantasy football game where you can buy, sell, and trade your favorite players from your favorite teams all across the world, taking part in online and competitive leagues. That means that your entry level is at any range. You can be a complete casual and just play for fun, or if you want to take it serious, you can go and get in the big leagues too. Speaking of big leagues, my league, Horizon Union League, down below at top of the description. It is decent. I'm on 68 out of over 700 people. I'm happy just being halfway, half best, but I'm happy to be in the top 100 at least. The top 3 right now is Bradford Jack, Mr. Sorry, and Nishan Cop 92. Reason why I highlighted them was because the top 3 of our league can win Premier League tickets. That is a beauty being part of the So Rare Union League. So join down below, top link of the description. So Rare is the future, fantastic product, and if you guys like fantasy football games, then this is an absolute must to get into. So, link down below, and let's get into the video. So, let's go back to the start. Mesut Özil, born in Germany and from Turkish heritage. He started his career out at Schalke, knowing early on of his talents as a number 10. His playmaking ability was there to show in its abundance, and upon making his first team appearances for Schalke, people already saw him as the next big thing in Germany. However, things did end on a sour note at Schalke, as Schalke tried to hold their new star down, offering a €1.5 million contract. Mesut Özil declined, and it led to a fallout with the club management, as Schalke's manager, Mirko Slomka, said that Ozil would not play another match for Schalke again. That then led to his signing for Werder Bremen for a fee of around €5 million. His first senior goal in his career was against Karlsruhe, I think that's how you say it. In the 2008-09 season, Ozil had a respectable season with 3 goals and 15 assists, and led Werder Bremen to the DFB Pokal final, beating Bayer Leverkusen 1-0 to lift the trophy. He also was a part of a great Werder Bremen team that went to the final of the UEFA Cup, sadly losing 1-0 to the final to Shakhtar Donetsk. And then came a big moment for Mesut, the European Under-21 Championships. Mesut yet again was a standout player and impressed alongside the German national team and also Werder Bremen as well. In the 09-10 season, Ozil took a bigger part of the team, with Brazilian Diego leaving the club, leaving Ozil to have that position all by himself. Werder Bremen went on to go to another DFB Pokal final, this time losing 4-0 to Bayern Munich. Bremen finishing a respectable 3rd place, and Ozil contributing 9 goals and 17 assists in 31 league appearances. And then the 2010 World Cup came around, which was a key part in his career. Germany hit 4 goals past Australia, then beat England, and then Argentina, with Ozil becoming a key part of the team and was vital in their attacking threats. It was an exciting time for the German national team, with many great young players coming up, and Mesut became the poster boy for that. And this is what made Ozil stand out, that he wasn't constrained to central areas by itself, that he was able to drift out wide, act as a winger, or even as a central playmaker in the midfield as a number 8. And due to his appearances in the World Cup, this got him a big move to potentially the biggest club in the world, of course, Real Madrid. Many teams wanted him at the time, including Barcelona, Arsenal, and Manchester United. A report came out that Wayne Rooney went to Sir Alex himself, saying that they must sign him at all costs. However, the move to the Galacticos took place in a region of, I can't believe I'm saying this, but €50 million. Ozil knew that he joined Real Madrid and was expecting to become just simply a rotational player. However, due to Kaká's injury midway through the year, he then turned into a starting player. A report followed that in his first 2 games as a starter at the Santiago Bernabeu, he got 2 standing ovations by the Real Madrid fans. And he thrived in his role as not just being a number 10 that is strictly purely down the middle, but has complete freedom to go wherever he pleases and to completely keep the defenders guessing. That is why in his first season he got 25 assists, which is the highest for any player in any major European competition that season, and he was fast becoming one of the best players in the world and most definitely seen as the best playmaker in the world. He got a number 10 shirt and expressed that he wanted to stay at the club forever. That season was 17 assists and winning the La Liga title for Real Madrid. However, in the 3rd season, some question marks were being given due to the arrival of Luka Modric, people suggesting that he was there to replace Mesut. However, the way that Mesut played didn't make it seem that way. He went on to finish the year with 29 assists, which is, again, crazy and isn't really a normal number, but for Mesut, that was normal. 25, 29 assists, it's just what he does. However, things got interesting, and then came a team called Arsenal. At the time, Arsenal were in a dire situation, with Arsene Wenger wanting to take Arsenal back to where they belong, the top of the Premier League. Arsenal finishing 3rd place in the Premier League, but losing a key player in Cesc Fabregas. And even though 3rd place, looking back, is a decent finish, it was quite a low for them considering some of their results, including the quite recognisable Manchester United 8, Arsenal 2, and being knocked out of the Champions League in the round of 16 yet again. Arsenal that entire season was trying to show off their transfer pulling power, but players such as Luis Suarez or Gonzalo Higuain was missed out on, and he knew that the pressure was on them to get that one big signing over the line. Arsene Wenger saw a number 10 creative player as a necessity. Mesut Ozil signing for Arsenal would be seen as symbolic. After years of mediocrity, it can be seen as a statement of intent. Instead of losing their key players to rivals such as Robin van Persie, such as Cesc Fabregas, they can actually recruit someone at the top of his game from the best team in the world, Real Madrid. But when it came to Arsenal, the mood and the shift of perception of Arsenal was changed. It was seen as a new era, a new direction for Arsenal to get back to the top. At Real Madrid, even though he was a starter, he was never seen as the key player, the main man. Of course, with the likes of Karim Benzema and Cristiano Ronaldo, he would have less pressure to do his thing. Ozil felt like his position at Real Madrid was being questioned, with the likes of Gareth Bale, James Rodriguez, to a squad that already had Di Maria and Luka Modric. Mesut Ozil felt like his place was at threat, so going to Arsenal would secure that place for him. However, the pressure came. He signed for Arsenal for a large fee at the time, which was £42.5 million. However, because it was deadline day, that probably increased it quite a lot. In his first season for Arsenal, he brought silverware to the club, after many years without one, that being in the 2014 FA Cup final, beating Hull 3-2 in the final, with Ozil completing his first season in the Premier League with 13 assists and 7 goals. A decent tally, but not one comparing to his time at Real Madrid, so people were still expecting him to take that next step up, and, well, he very much did. In that summer, he won the greatest trophy of all, the 2014 FIFA World Cup, of course, showing his consistency at the highest stage, as he did in Euro 2012 and in this World Cup too, consistently winning Germany's Player of the Year as well, and his contribution to that World Cup will forever be remembered. In the 2014-15 season, injuries did start to hamper him, with only 22 appearances in the league with 4 goals and 6 assists, which is much lower than what people come to expect from him, as he picked up a 12-week injury when playing against Chelsea. But then came the 2015-16 season, which is, in the first half of the year, potentially the greatest run you may ever see in the Premier League, unless if Haaland does something soon. He set a Premier League record of being the first player to assist in 6 matches in a row. He then continued that run to 7 games. He then provided 4 more assists in the next 3 games. He then continued breaking records that on the 28th of December, he then set a record of creating 9 goal-scoring chances, the most in a single Premier League game. He then went on against Southampton and created 10 chances, and then further went on to break another record. Ozil then provided his 17th assist for Danny Welbeck's winner against Leicester on the 14th of February. 17 assists in February is insane. However, the second half of the year from here on out can be seen as the Olivier Giroud era as well, where you could probably find many compilations online of the massive misses that Giroud would have from Mesut Ozil's chances that he created, as the most assists in one season is 20 and Ozil was already on 17 by February. People felt like it was obvious that was going to happen, but sadly it did not, as he sadly ended the year with only 19. He ended the year with 8 goals and 20 assists in all competitions, and of course won the Player of the Year. In his 4th season, the 16-17 season was one of the last times that we saw him at his complete best. 33 appearances, 8 goals and 7 assists, and bringing another piece of silverware too, winning another FA Cup, beating Chelsea 2-1 in the final. This entire Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil era was a massive part of Arsenal at this time, as they felt like they were building a new team to take on and to challenge to win a Premier League. And this is when contracts became an issue, that during the 2017-18-19 era, this then became a problem, as there were more talks about contracts than anything else about these 2 particular players. However, in 17-18, he did perform to pretty good expectations with 9 assists, 4 goals in 22 games. However, it did get worse and worse over time, with the 18-19 year being 24 appearances, 5 goals and only 2 assists. And his last Premier League season for Arsenal was 18 games in Premier League, 1 goal and 2 assists there as well. The glory of the talent of Mesut Ozil and his playmaking threat that he has and his raw ability was being overshadowed by a lot of other conversations, such as the lack of tracking back, such as the body language debate in terms of how he acts on the pitch. Does he look interested? His inconsistency over Unai Emery, the entire contract saga that came alongside Ozil and Alexis Sanchez, and then came Mikel Arteta, as it was very clear and obvious that Ozil was not part of Arteta's plans whatsoever, and a lot of things happened during that time too. Ozil sadly became more of a news item more than a footballer, and people talked about everything about Ozil other than the actual football itself. He became a talking point of what you wanted from a footballer. Do you want high pressing, high effort, but when it comes to the final third not being able to show their true talent, or do you want someone that can become more of a luxury player, may not be able to run around the entire game, but when he gets the ball, he makes magic happen? Tactically, there was many issues that came with Ozil at Arsenal, such as his time with Olivier Giroud, that Olivier Giroud and Mesut Ozil didn't really work together too well, and due to Ozil not being the greatest, not being able to do the defensive part of the game, he was simply kind of left out wide and then not being able to track back either, leaving more pressure on his defence. And this wasn't due to Ozil's lack of pressing, but his vulnerability to it. For example, in a 5-1 loss at Anfield in 2014, this really showed his vulnerability to being pressed. And let's address the elephant in the room here. In 2018, after Germany got knocked out in the group stages, Özil officially left the German national team. As in his words, he said, "I am German when we win and an immigrant when we lose," attacking the German Federation president at the time, Reinhard Grindel. This all came from when in May 2018, Özil alongside İlkay Gündoğan, both of Turkish descent, met with and posed for photographs with the Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. I'm so sorry if I said that incorrectly. This caused tensions in Germany, and as what Özil said was simply him respecting the highest office of his family's country, this was not seen in that way. And the treatment from this made Özil not want to play for his team again. In his statement, he said that, "I am disappointed by Grindel's actions, and when high-ranking DFB officials disrespect my Turkish roots and selfishly turn me into a political propaganda, then enough is enough." Continuing saying, "I will no longer stand for being a scapegoat for his incompetence and inability to do his job properly." This entire event came from simply him having a photo with the current Turkish president. Another controversial issue with Özil came from during COVID-19. It was reported that Özil refused the voluntary 12.5% pay cut amid the pandemic. This all led to the 2020-21 season, where Mesut was no longer included in the Arsenal 25-man squad. Many people are arguing that one side of this could be also due to another elephant in the room here, and that is his denouncing of the treatment of the Uyghur Muslims in China. He published a poem online written over the backdrop of a East Turkestan flag and criticised Muslim countries for not speaking out over the Xinjiang internment camps. Arsenal later released a statement distancing themselves from his comments. And if you want to see a reason why, state broadcasters China Central Television and PP Sports responded 2 days later by removing the match between Arsenal and Manchester City from their schedules. This is one pretty awkward and sour note, but an important one to really go into. The fact that Arsenal going against the support of what Ozil was standing out for, and the fact that there was an element of TV broadcast money could be maybe being removed from Arsenal. The threat of that could be part of the reason. And during the pandemic, when of course the Black Lives Matter movement came out, Ozil went out to slam Arsenal by refusing to back his support of the Uyghur Muslims, but supported what happened with George Floyd. As when Arsenal distanced themselves from his comments, saying that they always adhere to the principles of not getting involved in politics. So when Arsenal and the Premier League got involved in the Black Lives Matter movement for obvious reasons and for good reasons, Özil saw this as being two-faced, stating, "It doesn't matter what religion or colour you are, Muslim, Christian, Jew, black, white or anything else, we are all the same." Going on saying, "I have given a lot to Arsenal, on and off the pitch, so the reaction was disappointing. They said they do not get involved in politics, but this isn't politics, and they have got involved in other issues." And ended saying, "There were a lot of black players and fans of Arsenal, and it's fantastic the club is backing them, but I wish people would have done the same for the Muslims, because Arsenal have many Muslim players and fans as well, and it is important for the world to say that Muslim lives matter." The saga of Mesut Özil and Arsenal finally did come to an end. He then went on back to Turkey. It always felt like it made sense, of course due to Özil's heritage, but it didn't work out, sadly. Ending off his career at Fenerbahce and at Istanbul. I can't say that last name, I'm so sorry. He had a good season at Fenerbahce, but ending his career, sadly, with injuries at Istanbul. And there you have it. Then came his retirement at the age of a relatively young 34. Maybe he could have had another year or two in him, maybe in the MLS, but I think with his injuries, he thought that enough was enough. So there you have it, the story of Mesut Ozil, and for me is a tragic story of the last 5 years of him becoming more of a news piece than the beauty of what he can offer on a football pitch. Mesut, a modern playmaker who suddenly, as years went by, turned into yesterday's man. He was a selfless footballer who wasn't considered as a team player. He was a speedy counter-attacker who got caught up by the speed of matches. He was a player whose assist tally was constantly referenced, but who also received a "you can't appreciate him simply by looking at numbers" treatment. He was an astounding German talent, but was seen as not German by the higher ups in his own country. And this is what makes Ozil fascinating. Maybe an outsider for football, and most definitely an outsider of what football is now. Of course, people may say, oh, but who cares? He's earning this much money, and he's doing this and that. You may say tragic tale, but he's a millionaire, so who cares? And I get that, but this is purely about football here, and I feel like Ozil should be looked back on with much more dignity than what he does now. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. Just kind of where you want to speak about this video, feel free to tell me down below. Let's try to hit 3,500 likes, and also again, subscribe if you're new. I appreciate the love and support, and don't forget 8% off at my company mazzoladesigns.co.uk. Link is down below, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.